All right, welcome everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Firstly, a massive thank you to everyone for the feedback on the last video. Yeah, it was something I've been wanting to do for a while. So yeah, this video will be, it's completely unsponsored. I only get this stuff on loan. I got to take it back. So I'm going to showcase a few of the things that I've been looking forward to trying for a while. And also something that I saw and I went, I have to try this. So that's what this video is going to be about. We'll take some questions, all that kind of stuff as well. So thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for all the support and welcome. So we got Spencer first in the chat. Welcome, mate. We got Phil. How you doing? Baked Alaska, I should say. And Ben, welcome. We've got Sniff, who's a lefty. Awesome stuff. New guitar day is always a good day. So yeah, this isn't like guitars for me to keep. I didn't buy these either. They're just on loan. So I don't get any, I'm not getting any kickbacks for these. Any tips for a lefty? Is that what you're asking me for? All right, Daniel from the UK, welcome. We got Graham, Stable Genius. Just let me also thank all the other YouTubers who were part of that last video as well. And also Gerald Undone from the tech niche. It was great having him be part of that video. So yeah, super cool. So thank you. And a big apologies to Steve from Boston as well. He did send in his video. I had trouble, I had to convert it, and then the audio was a bit too hard to use, so he ended up sort of getting the chop. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, thank you, Steve, as well. If you watch this, mate, I appreciate it. All right, we've got people from everywhere here. Welcome, everybody. Let me just bring up the chat in a bigger window so I can see it. All right, looks like we're good to go. All right, if the audio's got any issues or the video or whatever, just let us know, but we should be in business. I'm tipping it should all be working fine today. I did a quick test. It should be working, but here we are. Thanks, Stable Genius, that's awesome. Yeah, YouTube's one of those things, you know, it's like, oh, you can kind of tune into it while you're working sometimes, put a little earplug in or whatever. All right, we've got David from Houston, watching from Annapolis, Maryland. Okay, I've never heard of that place, very cool. I mean, there's probably a billion places I haven't heard of, but that sounds cool. Hey, Steve from Boston, how are you, man? I just gave you a shout out and apology for the fact that I had trouble with your file. So thank you anyway, mate. I do appreciate you sending it out. Yeah, the audio was, as I mentioned to you, it was a bit funky. So yeah, but thank you. Actually, it's what's interesting. I saw your video, your podcast video, and the audio was pretty fine. So I'm not sure what happened there, mate. But anyway, thank you again. All right, awesome. So we're going to do a quick unboxing of a few things. Not unboxing, some of them are already unboxed, but I just thought I'd show you a little bit about what's coming up. Again, if you just joined, these aren't mine to keep or anything, they're just on loan. All right, very cool. Sounds good. YouTube notification actually worked for a change. That's always a good sign. I sometimes wonder about that. Hey, Thrash Metal Studio, how are you, man? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for the message on Instagram. Very cool. I've subbed to your channel, by the way. Very, very cool stuff. You got a great voice for video, audio, whatever you want to call it. Radio, maybe. Might be your new thing going forward. You got a great voice for that stuff. What's an example of an SG copy that plays well and works for classic rock tones? Well, an Epiphone would be my first choice when it comes to any of that stuff, basically because they're very, very close. You can get something like a Tokai as well, which is really good. They're made in Japan. They're also, the older ones are made in Korea, and some of the newer ones are made in China. If you've got a choice between a Chinese-made Tokai and an Epiphone, I would go for the Epiphone. They're easier to find. The Japanese guitars, though, are on a completely different level to the Epiphones in general. The best Epiphone I've played in the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years was the most recent one I played, the white one, the Arctic white one. Awesome. Hey, Tensolo Music, welcome, man. Very cool. We've got all the cool cats here. Annapolis. Ah, okay. See, phonetic spelling is the way that I need to see things. Steve, is that how you pronounce your name? Steve, you type that in phonetically. All right, Tom, welcome, mate. Cool. Ah, cool. I might have switched up mics to Killer Static. No problems. What about the Artist AG100? I haven't tried it, but the Artist guitars are great. I've actually got a review of one coming up of their 335 and one of their new black ones. It's pretty good. There was one issue with it, which is explained in the video, but otherwise, pretty great. Pretty great video. Pretty great guitar, I should say, not pretty great video. But it'll be in the video, is what I was trying to say. But yeah, I haven't played their SGs yet, but I can borrow stuff off them, no problem, so I can do that. All right, welcome everybody. All right, so we might as well crack open some caffeine here and show you a little bit about what we got. So I got an Epiphone, I've got a Gibson, and I've got a Squier. So let me know what you want me to start with here. One of these guitars, I have actually picked it up before now, but I waited 15 years to play this guitar. So we'll see how we go. Play today, Guitar Center was an Epi. Wow. Oh yeah, Epiphones are great. The only criticism I give Epiphone is sometimes with their SGs in particular, I always find like the finish on the headstocks are really weird. Like they're just so easily scratched. I don't know if that's a big problem for most people or not, but it's the first thing that always seems to get marked. You can, yeah, I don't know what they do with the headstock finish, but other than that, man, they're super cool. I think recently on the live clips we shot at the shop with Dr. Rick and the guys, I played a couple of SGs and I was like, "Ooh, man," I can't afford those, by the way. They're like $8 or something. They're high-end custom shop ones, but it didn't feel that bad to play, minus the fact I was trying to remember which fret was which. That sort of throws me every time I get on those guitars, but tone-wise, it was amazing, and it was nice and light. Steve says he wants a new SG in ebony. Very cool. Yeah, I think the SGs are coming back. You know, Robert Baker just posted a video of an SG, and he played this great funky thing at the start, which was killer. So yeah, I'm a big fan. And this is the funny thing about humbuckers. A lot of people think they only do dirt well, but a good humbucker will do clean beautifully as well. And that was a great showcase of it. What time is it in Australia? It's 11:30 a.m. almost. Thoughts on the JHS pedal range? You know what? I haven't actually tried a lot of their pedals. I think the only one I tried was the Morning Glory, and I think that's what it was called. I borrowed that years ago from a local shop, and you know what? I can't remember, but I think they're built pretty well from what I remember. I like that dude's channel actually. He's got some good videos. Like his Behringer pedal comparison was pretty fun. Yeah, sorry, what is it? I'm also considering the radio. I was told I have a face for radio. Yeah, mate. I think we're all in that boat. Don't worry about that. No, your stuff's cool. All right, let's. Hi Cheyenne, I've never heard anyone name an amp that doesn't do well with pedals. Have you known such an amp? Yeah, like a lot of digital modeling amplifiers aren't great with pedals. Sometimes they can be okay if you're dead clean and then you throw a pedal on, but generally they won't sound anywhere near as good with external effects as they do with their built-in ones. They're not designed to have lots of preamp gain going through the amplifier. So yeah, you know, just keep that in mind. I would say most digital modeling amps, Marshall Code, you know, Fender Mustangs aren't as good in my opinion and experience using them with pedals going into them. You can get away with it with the old ones, but with the newer ones, they're not really designed for like high gain load going straight into the front. So yeah, most low watt amplifiers as well aren't good. Another one that comes to mind is the Marshall, what are they called? The Origin 5 wasn't great in my experience. Even though it's a practice amp, probably should have been a bit better. The Big Arrow wiped the floor with it. So yeah, anything really low output or anything digital won't respond as well. So yeah, that's, hey, Jose, welcome, man. Let me scroll up. All right, Ben says, I'm tossing up between the Artist TC59 and the 58 Cherry. Drove an hour to go play one in the Sydney shop, only to be told they're not letting people touch them. Oh, that sucks. Damn, I didn't know that. That's no fun at all. I'm surprised you couldn't just, like, what every guitar shop in the world is doing is just having one of those little gel things at the door. That would make so much more sense. Yeah, maybe they're just being cautious. You know, people sneeze and then, I don't know. I'm not too sure. Or maybe it's different in Sydney right now to Melbourne. I'm a bit out of touch with what's going on. I saw Robert Baker's video, SG video, it sounded awesome. It did. Man, it's like, oh, it never ends, the gas. Do I have the same problem with 24 fret PRS Custom 24? Not at all. No, that guitar, I think what it is with the PRS that's different for me, I know Robert spoke about this, but I've never experienced like a lack of awareness where I am on that guitar compared to an SG inherently. And I think because the horn of the PRS is longer, it makes me feel like it's in context to where the position would be on the fretboard. At least it's a visual thing more than it is anything else for me that on a guitar. So no, I've never really thought about going, oh, where am I on a PRS? It is what it is. I love that SE. It plays so well. I might move that light. Sorry, it's sort of spun around and it's blinding everybody. Hey, Jamal, welcome, mate. Bill, welcome. Hope everyone's doing well. Thanks again if you've just joined, thanks again for all the support with the last video, and thanks to all the YouTubers who contributed to that. Something that's been in the works for a while. So yeah, and the idea with that wasn't to call any one channel out. It's not just one channel, and doing that isn't something that I don't do like call out videos. I don't do drama stuff. It's literally something that was important enough for everyone to want to talk about, and I think it's a good thing for the guitar community as a whole, whether it be the people making the videos or the people watching them needs to all be on the same page. So yeah, I really feel like this is something I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and anyone who knows me personally will know this. So yeah, thank you again. Do I think big amp companies are going in the wrong direction pushing low output amps as opposed to 100-watt heads? No, because there's something for everybody. I think the days of 100-watt amps are almost over, unless you're a touring pro. I would assume shops would sell less 100-watt or plus amplifier heads than they would lower output amplifiers. Maddie K, you are an absolute madman. Thank you. Did I just make it into a Shane Diorio live stream? I must be in YouTube heaven. Mate, let's not get carried away. I actually paid Maddie K $100 to write that and to send me 50 back. So full disclosure there. Thank you, Maddie. You're a madman. Great to see you, you two. Thank you. Best of Dr. Rick. So Rick's living it up north right now. So yeah, he's having far more fun than most of us. He's in the sunshine, and we're in the cold. I'm back to wearing hoodies. We didn't really get a summer this year. So hey, thank you again, Matty K. Thank you so much, man. That is absolutely crazy of you. I don't know what to say, but thanks. You're a great supporter. Yeah, if you got any questions, mate, just let us know. I'll keep an eye on the chat here. Just add in the blues me. But thanks again. Yeah, no one needs 100 watts. Yeah, I sort of feel like 100 watts is only good if you want a really clean amp pedal platform. That's about it. And I would assume most people would probably still want to be able to switch that down slightly. So yeah, it's one of those things. Thank you, Stephen. He says, you made a good point, needed to be said. Thank you, mate. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think, you know, this exact conversation has come up in gaming. As Steve said on his part of the video, I think it was gaming, he may have said on his part. It's also come up in tech, which is why I wanted Gerald Undone on, because the whole industry is very different. He he discloses to his audience and people appreciate it. And it's like, he is not seen as someone who is doing the wrong thing. And he's not doing the wrong thing. He's doing the right thing. So, yeah, I just thought it was great to have someone in a different industry on. And he was not, I didn't know that guy. I literally sent him an Instagram voice message and he said, yeah, I'll be on that. I was like, cool. So, yeah, it was good. Look, whether or not it makes any long-term change is up to any of the people who saw it, mixed with people who were part of the content creator community, but it is what it is. So that'll be the last video on that topic, unless I get asked about it on a live stream. I won't be doing anything like that again on my channel. So at least not right now anyway. Worldwide ghosts. Yeah, look, you know what? I got to be honest, I haven't watched this stuff in a long time, and not for any personal reasons. I just tuned out of a lot of guitar channels based on this exact reason. So when people say, hey, have you seen this new video by these guys? I'm like, no. I've sort of stopped watching a lot of channels. But yeah, I don't know. How do I feel about the positive Spark amp reviews? Hype. You know, I haven't actually played one. I got offered to play one ahead of time and make a video on a release date. Now, to be clear, I have no problems with people who do that either, right? It just wasn't of interest to me at that particular point in time. I don't like signing anything, and I don't sign anything. It's funny because companies will be like, oh, we want to work with you, we want to send you something in for a video. Do you want to sign an NDA? I'm like, no, tell me what it is, otherwise I'll just not say anything about it. And they was like, oh, we need you to sign this. And I was like, I don't want to do that. So anyway, I found out about that amp ahead of time, and a little bit ahead of time anyway, maybe a few days. And I was like, you know what? It's not for me. I'm only really reviewing stuff that I feel like I'm interested in, rather than just reviewing everything. I think I've tried reviewing everything in the early days of my channel, buying and selling a lot of stuff and borrowing things and all that kind of stuff. But I just feel like those days are over. Digital modeling amps, to do a really great video on them is tough. That amp has a lot of good things to offer, but I knew it takes so much time for me to do one of those videos, and I felt like there'd be enough of them going around to not really, yeah, it just gets lost in the mix maybe. So, but I have no problems with those amps. I think for what I've heard of them, they sound okay. I heard a few people saying that they can't log into some sort of online tone thing that is supported with it at the moment. I'm not too sure. Maybe people who own it can comment on that. But Avery Guitar Stuff says, am I down under? Yeah, I'm in Melbourne, Australia. Or just out of Melbourne, Australia, I should say. Western Australia had bad fires this year. Yeah, I mean, like, well, last year everywhere was on fire here. It was horrible. I think a lot of people have forgotten about that. Like, it was brutal. Ben says, Dr. Rick's stank face is by far the best I've seen, aside John Mayer. I reckon he's got worse faces than John. Rick plays like a fish. He's like, he's hilarious. Hey, Brett Boston, thank you, man. I appreciate that. He says, hey Shane, can you recommend an affordable bass amp just to jam with mates loud enough to jam with a full drum kit? I can. One that really surprised me was the Fender Rumble 300. It was like a head. It was either a 300 or a 500. It was a head and a separate cab, and they're super light, and I would consider them affordable compared to a lot of other amps. Another one that's really good, you can sometimes buy, and they're a bit heavier though, so be warned, is Ashdown. I think they make some of the best sounding bass amps I've ever heard. It's funny because a lot of guys I know bought Ashdown amps and then they all went over to Mark Bass, and then you hear an Ashdown and you go, it's not even close. Mark Bass make good stuff, it's light, but I feel like your best bet for affordability would be the Fender Rumble and then any sort of Ashdown 300 watt head or higher. Now it sounds like a lot, but in bass terms it's really different. So yeah, check out the Fender, Fender Rumble. I think it's either a 300 or a 500. So thanks again, Brett. Thanks for the support. I appreciate it, mate. Mackenzie says, how do I feel about the Klon Centaur? Is it worth the hype? No, it's not worth the hype. Don't buy one. Buy a Klon KTR. If you want to support the guy who made them, buy his KTR version. Don't go hunting down a vintage Klon. It's a waste of money. You gotta. The only people that buy them are people who are, well, let's just say they got money to burn. It's not going to make any difference tonally compared to the new ones. It's just, yeah. Once hype gets behind anything, it is what it is. Hey, Robert Baker, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks again for your help with the video. And I thought I'd change Robert's pitch of his voice up just a little bit on that video just to keep things interesting. So, man, I can't believe I did that to you. Sorry, Robert, again. Apologies, mate. What happens is in Australia, our cameras shoot in different frame rates to the ones that are in other countries. So US, North America, they're all 30 frames per second. So I got footage in 30 frames, 29.97, and sometimes when you throw them all into a project, weird things happen to the pitch of the audio. So Robert was hilarious. So yeah, welcome, mate. Thanks again. We got... what players am I listening to lately? You know, I've got to admit, not a lot that's new. You know, I went on this massive Jack Pearson binge a while back, which lasted for probably 3 weeks. That guy's so good. Just amazing, amazing guitar player. Bill, thank you, Madman, or lovely man, or whatever. Thanks, mate. Thanks for the great channel. I look forward to every video. Hey, thanks, Bill. Thank you. You don't have to keep super chatting, mate. Anyone on, I've said it before, mate, you're on the Patreon crew. That is more than ample. Thank you. And yeah, thanks everybody for the support. Far out. I was going to do some unboxing and we got chatting. We'll get to the guitars. They're right there. They're hiding. Is that your mic clipped onto your shirt? Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a wireless one. So I can kind of just move around and not have to be in one spot all the time. These are really, really great because you can plug a external mic into them, or they've got a microphone built in, so they're pretty handy. Spark is a great practice amp, but not for gigging. Yeah, that's how I would assume most of that stuff would be. Any of those sort of small compact amps are great for home practice. That's exactly it. For me now, it's more about simplicity. I've said this for a while. I don't like guitars with lots of different toggle switches and pots that don't make sense. I just want something I can plug into and play, whether that be a practice amp or anything, a guitar, a pedal. I don't want to have a million options anymore. And I've done so many reviews of digital modeling amps over the years that I was not interested in it just based basically on that more than anything else. But I think they're a really solid, from what I've seen of them anyway, they seem like a pretty solid choice. Sorry guys, let me just scroll back up. I missed a whole lot of stuff here. Let me just scroll back up. When am I going to play Roblox? I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. All right, let me scroll. Shane, do you to the? I'm not sure what that means. Sorry. Great to see you again. Thanks to you and Dr. Rick of the review of the Harley Benton Fusion with the flame maple neck. I purchased a lefty and love it. Ever considering doing a follow-up video for a lefty? I have considered it, absolutely. I'm in the process of seeing if I can actually get one of those in a lefty sent over. So yeah, that would be cool. I had no expectations of any of those Harley Benton guitars. I thought, oh, here we go. But they're actually really good value. They are. And that's the thing. Like, I've taken some of them out and played them live and they've worked great. So yeah, it is what it is. I think, you know, there's a lot of people that will hate on something if they haven't tried it. And I was one of those guys. And I'm still guilty of doing that. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck. Everyone's got it. You know, everyone's doing a review of it. It's such a bad mentality. I'm trying to change my ways. Turning into a grumpy old man. But no, that's pretty much how I thought about them. These are going to be nowhere near as good as the hype. And sometimes people get disappointed. You know, one of the reviews I posted was, you don't want your guitar to turn up like this. It had crooked headstock tuners, and it was chipped on the headstock and chipped on the body, and it had a crack on the neck. But the other 5 were fine. So who knows? Lucas, thank you, man. Doesn't he still build new clones? Yeah, the KTR, the clone KTR. So don't think I'm belittling his product. I'm just saying don't invest $5,000 into a vintage clone. Get the KTR. Hey, Jamal. Oh, Jamal. What are you doing? Thank you, mate. Got to show some love. I'm in the market for a guitar with P90s. Any suggestions? I do have one. I'll get back to your suggestion in 1 second. I've got it right behind me here. Todd says, hey Shane, I'm just about to head down to Sky Music and buy more guitars. However, I noticed they had a left-handed Gibson SG with Pelham Blue for sale. Any chance of a review? So it's pretty funny you guys are both talking about the same thing, because maybe that's what this is. So we might as well get into this, because Jamal and Todd were talking about this. So I went down this morning and, not to spoil it, of course, went down there this morning to borrow this. And a review of this will be coming up. I'm going to shoot it today, actually. So after this live stream, we're going to, I'm going to get this video done. This will be the first one that I do, and if you want to buy it, I'll take it back as soon as I'm done. And by the way, I don't sell these guitars if you're new to the channel. This is only on loan. I don't get any kickbacks for making these reviews when I borrow stuff, unless anyone uses affiliate links and stuff. Yeah, here we go. My kid just said Roblox. I don't know what that is. Is that some sort of game? Obviously it is. So let's check this out. Is this the one you're talking about? So this sort of ties into Jamal's question. I saw this, I was like, man, this is super cool. It's funny how all the guitar companies now are going into these funky colors. So just to be clear, this one's called the SG Special Faded Pelham Blue left-handed. And it's got the chrome wrap hardware, is what they call it. So now the light is behind me, so let's see if this works. So focusing. Oh no, I'm not recording, so it's not going to do autofocus. Gotta love cameras sometimes. Yeah, so there it is. I have a feeling this is going to be great, but I'm going to hold off my opinion until I actually do the video. But I like to just try stuff. I like the fact there's no tremolo. Tunematic bridge on this one. So you'll either like that or you won't. Some people won't like this, but I've grown to like it on my guitars. It's just nice and simple, and it's generally pretty fine in terms of intonation and all that kind of thing. So yeah, this looks pretty cool. So, and the other reason, you know, the cool thing about SGs I'm learning after watching Robert Baker's video, if I could play as well as him, that they're just light and comfortable to play, minus the neck dive thing, but look at that. So it's actually, see, I went to hit an A, but I'm on the wrong fret. Always gets me with an SG for the first little while, but yeah, so this will be coming up on the channel. I'll review this today. I'll shoot the video today, and if you require this one back at the store, either one of the guys will come and get it, or I'll run it back down. But yeah, it's beautiful. I thought I'd do this while it was still on the shelf. So that's the first one. All right. So yeah, Jamal, I reckon either that or go for the one I've got, with the one that I purchased, which was the Gibson Les Paul Studio with the P90s. Special, sorry, the Les Paul Special. All the studios are pretty good too, or the juniors, I should say. So that's the first one. Let us know if anyone in here has played that as well, because I haven't. It's going to be a bit of fun, I'm tipping. I've got a couple of new backing tracks I've been writing and stuff. So yeah, hopefully you dig it. My 8-year-old likes Roblox. Is it Roblox? Is that how you say it? Or is it Roblox? Anyway, I'll Google it later. let me scroll down here. So Todd and Jamal, thank you again. Thank you to Bill and Brett, and also Maddie K, I appreciate it. And Buzz. Hey, I'm following you on Instagram now, mate. So thanks for finding me on there. That's super cool. Instagram's a bit of fun. It's something that I just use for fun, and it's super cool. It's like the best messaging platform, Instagram. I like it. It's really cool. So thank you, Buzz. He says, love the P90s. Yeah, P90s are fun. I may actually do a quick comparison video if I have time up against my Les Paul Special. I always call it a Les Paul. Yeah, I think I always get those models confused, but the yellow, TV yellow one anyway. JPED, maybe? Is that how you say it? Are you ever planning on continuing the alternative inexpensive guitar series? I am. Yeah, absolutely. I've actually got another video idea for that coming up. It's going to be a good, well, I shouldn't say it's going to be a good video. It should be a good mix of things. So stay tuned for that. I'll probably get that done in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, I think. The Sky Music ship to the US? No, they don't. I think when guitar stores in any country have Gibson or Fender, they're not allowed to sell those outside of their own country. Otherwise, people would just buy wherever the exchange rate is cheapest. I'm not sure exactly what the theory is behind it or what, but no, they don't. But it's cool, you know, they let me literally grab whatever I want from the shop owners in there. I'm like, oh, do you mind if I grab some stuff? He's like, yeah, get whatever you like. All right, thanks. So yeah, that's one of the few. Let's open the Epiphone as well here. We'll get into that. Anyone, let me know if anyone knows what this is going to be here, other than the Patreon guys who might be cheating. Thanks again, Buzz. Thank you, mate. The next shape of my SG is really nice. Yeah, mate. Yeah, Robert's got the magic fingers. I love that funky groove, man. I knew what inspired it, obviously. It sounded really familiar. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is great, because I love that kind of groove. And then, yeah, your solo was just like, ooh, look at those fingers fly. It was super cool. And great tone, man. Like the cleans were spot on. It was beautiful. I like the old melody makers, very cool. That's one thing I've not had any experience with. Just missed the first one. What was it? You can scroll back, hopefully, if you missed it. It was a Gibson SG with P90s in what they call Pelham. I think Pelham Blue or Pelham Blue. Hey, Shawnee, thanks, man. Or Sean Y is a Cubs fan. Hi, Shane. I've been eyeing a Martin 001 15M as my next guitar purchase. Let me just double check, man. I mean, the best acoustic guitars I've played are Martins, and Taylors, I should say. Both of those are usually pretty solid. I don't know if they make a lot of junk, and to be honest, I haven't actually played this exact one before. I've played the Sigma equivalent of it, which I loved. I nearly bought it a while back. But yeah, Martins and Taylors are pretty hard to buy a dud, but I would encourage you to play them, because unlike electric guitars, which are fairly similar, acoustics can vary greatly. Some can sound beautiful and some can sound dead as a doornail. So I know that doesn't help to the extent that you may have wanted, but that's the only honest advice I can give you. In terms of it being a mahogany acoustic guitar, that might mean it's got a slight sort of tonality shift than it would if it was like a spruce top or something like that, but they look cool. They look really, really cool. May have what they would consider a darker or punchier kind of tone to it, but not as, yeah, it could vary from guitar to guitar, and then you're talking tone woods and consistency with it as well. But man, if you're going to buy a Martin, congratulations. There's probably one of the best guitars you could get. And you're buying something you'll keep long term. You're not buying like a filler to then get the one that you want. So very smart move. Stephen says, I'm on a P90 kick. Robert Baker just drove me to get a Gibson Custom Shop 54 Les Paul. Very nice, man. I had a VOS Custom Shop Gold Top as well. Beautiful. As with everything in the COVID world, it's on back order. Yeah, that's definitely a challenging time to get things. It was like that here too. It still is a lot of stuff. Have I ever built a parts guitar? No, I haven't. I've been thinking about doing that for a while. I want to get the parts that I know it's going to be something I want to keep. Because I think when you build those, they're never quite as... It's always the same thing. It's like the sandwich someone else makes tastes better. And I feel like that happens with Parts-A-Casters. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to love this, but they prefer the one they bought because it's just someone else put it together or whatever the case may be. So I may try it and see if that's actually a thing or not. Hey, GW Taylor, welcome, mate. This is, I was about to head off to bed here in Scotland. That's about as good as my Scottish accent gets. And just made the mistake of one last check around the net. Man, I do that all the time. Hope you're doing well, Taylor, GW. Thanks, man. Robertson, for those who don't know Robert Baker, he's the enabler of enablers. If anyone has any weakness in their shield of gas, they succumb to the Robert Baker pressure. I know Rick's challenged at the moment. If anyone who follows Dr. Rick on Instagram, just encourage him to get the new Gibson Explorer. He'll appreciate that. He's on the fence. It's dangerous times. Is it better to start on acoustic or electric? You know, a lot of people used to say that acoustic guitar is better for your chops, and I would agree when you're learning the fundamentals of chords and muscle memory, because when you do get on an electric guitar, it feels easier. But there's certain things you can't do on an acoustic that you can do on an electric, like great double stop bends, or, you know, if you want to learn how to use the whammy bar, you know, these are things that are inherent to electric guitar. So I would say follow the path of the sound that you want. So if you're just starting and you really want an electric guitar, go that route. Or if you really want an acoustic guitar, go that route. If you're planning on singing and playing, like as a solo act, go for an acoustic guitar. If you want to do like band stuff or go to a blues jam or, you know, that kind of thing, or play Sweet Home Alabama or whatever the case may be, right? You want to go, my suggestion would be go for an electric guitar. That's sort of how I split that in my mind, at least anyway, but open to other suggestions, obviously, in the chat here. Stephen, you madman. Thank you, mate. Far out. Guys, what's with the super chats? Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what to say. It doesn't feel like real. I don't know. Thank you. Thank you for all the support, mate. Stephen, thank you. And Tom as well. Far out. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. If anyone who's just super chatted has a question, just @intheblues and I'll make it an effort. Make an effort to spot it in the chat here. I always do try and make an effort, but sometimes stuff just flies by. But thanks everyone for the support. Far out. Man, I feel like, yeah, thank you. I don't know what to say. Bill says Shane still needs to add an Esquire to his keeper collection. I got to say that double Esquire was arguably the best Tele style guitar I'd ever played, but it was more like a Telecaster than it was an Esquire. So if it was a single pickup job and it was a lefty, then maybe, but a dual double Esquire is a little too similar to my Telecaster, minus the, yeah, it's sold as well, that guitar, so I missed my chance. Robert says, I love 00 and 000 Martins, but have my HD 28 as my favorite. Very cool. Yeah, sorry about my acoustic guitar knowledge. It's pretty limited, more so because I'm a lefty. I've only played like a handful of really great, actually one of my favorite guitars of all time, and there is one locally at the moment. It's not at Sky Music, it's at another shop. It's called a GS Mini from Taylor with the pickup system. Those things are so nice and they don't take up a lot of physical space. So I've always said if I found one of them, that might be the one. So I'm going to go back and maybe have a play and then put it under the bed for 3 years and not play it. No. I need to, yeah, I don't play acoustic enough. I should play it more. You know, I think it's just, it is what it is. You see some guys that are great on acoustic guitar and it sounds beautiful. I'm not one of those guys. Some would argue I can't do that on electric guitar either, so it works out fine. Guys, thanks for all the support here. Sean, far out, Buzz, everybody, thank you. Let me scroll down here. Thank you, Matty K. Got to run. Take it easy. Thank you again, mate. Frankie says, going to have to make the trip to Sky Music at some point, based purely on your interactions with them. I hope they can get their hands on a PRS SE Zach Myers. Oh, I'm sure they will. Don't worry about that. They got more PRS than anywhere. It's a really great store. And if they weren't, I wouldn't have any association with them, right? I'm very like, yeah, but I'll tell you what, years ago, before everything changed in that shop, I wasn't a big fan. I've said that a number of times. It's like, it's so good going in there now. And the fact they let us shoot, like, you know, hey, grab this off the wall and shoot a video about stuff, that's so fun. It's just so much fun. I picked up a Lefty Les Paul Jr. from Sky Music. Dug your review. Very cool, man. Whacked a Faber Rap, I don't know what that is, a Raptonate bridge on it with that single P90. It's a beast. Very cool. Is that supposed to say wraparound maybe? Oh, maybe that's the brand name. I'm not too sure, but good stuff, mate. When I got in my 30s, I found I could no longer play thin neck guitars. After a bit of chording, my hand really starts hurting. Same for me, mate, right in here. If I play really thin neck guitars a lot, it gets really thin. And speaking about thin neck guitars, let's get into this next one. We'll fire this one up. Oh, what? It's I have a feeling they gave me the wrong one. Oh no, it's right. It's the right one. All right. This one has not been opened. All right, any guesses what this one is? It's got a thin neck and it's an Epiphone. Is that enough of a enough of a hint? And Amanda, welcome by the way too. I didn't say hi before. David says he's too high to do algebra homework. Have to watch some Shane instead. Thanks, man. Would I recommend an American original Tele over a 50s Les Paul standard? The answer is yes and no. They're two completely different guitars, man. So work out if you want, you know, buying a Fender or a Gibson. Sorry, was that your question? Sorry, yeah, if you're looking at two, I always get asked, what do I prefer, like this Gibson or that Fender? I'm like, they're completely different, and you're gonna have to try them and work out which one is right for you. So this guitar, I've waited like 15 years to play. That'll probably be the title of the video. This is a Epiphone Casino in a Lefty. So if any of the long-term subscribers will know, anytime I've been asked, what one guitar would you love to try? This. This has got the dog ear P90 pickups. Rick played one of these on the last live stream and it had some feedback issues, but this has been high on my list for a long time. And I had a quick play on one the other day and I want to try it through my gear before I give it my final opinion because yeah, playing through your own stuff is always different to playing through someone else's amp. So if you're going to go buy a guitar and you play a fair bit, take your own amp and pedal board with you. Best thing you can do. Hey, Kerry, thank you, man. Thank you for the review this morning on the video switcher. Will this come in handy if live music ever happens again? That live switcher is fantastic, man. It is really, really good. I actually used it on a live stream on that channel and it worked great. So, hey, thank you, mate. The AV Matrix is super cool. Thank you. Fat says he hasn't seen Robert Baker's last video, but I assume he's getting rid of the SG. Yeah, well, you're gonna have to go find out. Kerry, thanks again, mate. Thanks for all the support over the years too. Yeah, I do appreciate it. So what do you think of these? You know, this is a guitar that doesn't tick the boxes in a lot of ways, which I found out the other day, but it still looks good. And when I say it doesn't tick the boxes, you know, everyone likes stuff that, or check the boxes if you live overseas. Everyone kind of has their own, what they like and dislike about things. This gets a few things right, and I think it gets quite a number of things wrong for what I like. But I guess we'll shoot the video and we'll see how it goes. But it's great that they're making these in lefty. About time. Like, why did it take them 15 years to make one of these guitars? All right, thanks again, Kerry. Cheers, man. If you've got any questions about that, just shoot us an email or whatever. I'll fit you in. American Epiphone. No, this one is made in China. So, yeah, there's that. But it's funny how, you know, I guess the attitude towards China may have changed in the last year or so, but it's funny how many people go, oh, I wouldn't buy anything made in China in the comment sections. I'm like, your phone is made there, you know, or your fridge or whatever, right? So it's sort of a bit, I get what they're trying to say, but yeah, you got to remember, not everybody is a bad person. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But sort of like Clouson style tuners. It's got it feels, first impressions of this compared to like the 50s Epiphone Les Paul, the 60s one, it feels a little cheap. It's got a real squeaky kind of finish to it, but it still might rock or blues, so we'll find out. Anyway, I'm just going to put this one back in. Actually, I'll just lay it down over here on the case. Oh, actually, I've got a stand. Boom. So that's that. Anyway, I'm keen to check it out. So, yeah, I already know it's not going to live up to my internal hype about it because it's been something I've been looking forward to for such a long time. Let me just see. Any of those super chats that came through without a question. Hey, Bobby, how are you, man? Feel free to add in the blues me if I haven't replied because I'm trying my best to keep up with the chat here. This will just be an hour today too, this live stream. Landon, welcome, man. And I'll tell you what, let's just open the other one. Last one. Last of the guitars here. It's this one. Now, I can't remember what this is. Oh yeah, I already said, it's a Squire. Now, interestingly enough with this I'm pretty sure is the classic vibe. But there's two things that make this feel a little bit different. The first thing is it feels way lighter than I'm used to. So these are now made in Indonesia. So I guess Fender or Squire moved their plant over to there a while back. But there's no branding of classic vibe on it, which is strange. So yeah, I thought rather than maybe doing a straight up review, I could maybe compare it to my 50s original or something like that. We'll see. It's actually in tune. Man, you can't go wrong with a telly. So that'll be fun. I mean, I've reviewed pretty much the first release of those was the one that I purchased. And then I've just borrowed the last few that I've reviewed, and they've always been good. So I don't know if there's going to be any appreciable difference between the made in Indonesia one and the Chinese ones, but it is what it is. I guess we'll give it a run. Lincoln says, check out the Michael Kelly Rick Turner S6. It's killer acoustic, acoustic electric thin line. Very cool. All right. Yeah, Michael Kelly's a brand that isn't easily found in Australia. It's getting there, but not a lot of shops that I know have it. It's sort of like probably more of an online order thing. Try Orangewood acoustics? Yeah, I have. I think they're good value. Yeah, I mean, I've only tried one lefty, but the one that I tried was definitely worth like $150 or $189 or whatever it cost. I'm just going to scroll down. I know I'm right behind the chat here. Gary Clark Jr. plays a casino. Yeah, he does. I have a feeling he's playing like a modified one, possibly. I could be wrong. My Gibson V, oh, very cool, has binding flaws, but my Wolfgang made in Indonesia blows it away. Wow, that's interesting. I got a Gibson Flying V. It's more of a dad rock one. It's not like a blinged out one with metallic chromed hardware and all that kind of stuff, which I think look pretty cool. But yeah, my V's just doesn't have any real binding on it or anything, and it's not too bad. But yeah, it's funny, like just because of where something's made doesn't mean automatically it's going to be good or bad. Like, it's just you got to take the good with the bad. You know, I've bought expensive pedals that didn't work after a week, or I've had stuff that I've paid for and it didn't work. As soon as you get home, plug it in and it doesn't work. So it's like, what? So yeah, you just never can tell. That's why it's good to always test stuff if you can in person and give it a go. Bruce, thank you, man. I appreciate the super chat. Greetings from the US. Do you still have your Tokai? I've been gassing for an LS142 cool top. Very nice. I do. So I sold my 335 a while back because I hadn't played it for about a year. And when I did play it live, which is the benchmark I like to use, I didn't enjoy it as much as any of my other guitars, including the Les Paul, that Love Rock LS110. I had a treble bleed put in there and it will hold its own with much more expensive guitars. It is so good. So yeah, I'm not getting rid of that. There's no reason for me to buy a Gibson Les Paul with humbuckers because the Tokai does all of that. Absolutely all of it. And I actually owned a custom shop Les Paul at one point with P90s. And in the hand, they felt indistinguishable to each other, even though one has different pickups. I meant just physically. That's how good they're built. So yeah, the made in Japan stuff is definitely like better than I think a lot of people assume they are. Addicted to Gear, who's also in Canada, he's got a couple of Tokai guitars, and yeah, the Japanese stuff is definitely, it is what it is. Once you try it, you go, ah, now I get it. And that's what I had to come to that realization. These are really good instruments. Again, if it wasn't, I would have flipped it by now. So yeah, you can't go too far wrong, Bruce. Thanks again, mate. I appreciate that. Tom G says it looks super lightweight. It is. The Casino weighs nothing. And I think one of the big flaws with it is there's no block down the center. So you're basically going to get a lot of this is the issue we had on the live session we filmed, was you're going to get a lot of feedback. With gain, I should say. Ben Chan, thanks, man. I'm back. Bloody customers keep asking me to help them. Have no idea why. Don't they know In the Blues is streaming? Hey, thanks, mate. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it, mate. Get back to work. What are you doing? Yeah, I think everyone's guilty of sometimes spending a bit of time on YouTube, either audibly or otherwise. You know, I watch so much. Let me know in the comments here too, because I can't be alone with this, right? Although I make content, I use YouTube more than I use anything else online. There's nothing else I use more than this. I got off Facebook too, which is a big thing for me. Maybe 3 years ago, best decision I made with getting rid of my personal account. And I think like that time has gone into like more productive stuff. But at night, I'm always like, oh, what can I watch? What have I missed out on? What can I learn about? I think YouTube's great like that. It really is. I think, although no platform is perfect, it's such a great learning tool. You know, I've built up a lot of websites learning about, like I already knew a bit about tech. I'm a qualified nerd, but I also learned so much just by watching free videos. It's like, man, this is so good. Like I would have loved this as a kid. I just wonder how big it can grow, because I think something like a year's worth of content is uploaded every hour or something like that, right? So how do they keep expanding the servers? It has to get to a point where it's like, this is just too big, or maybe they'll start culling videos that are over 20 years old or something at some point. I have no idea. It's crazy. I know that they drastically stripped the codecs down and there's smart encoding on the video files, but even so, as resolutions increase, it has to hit a cap at some point. Robert Baker says, I bet the cleans are amazing on a casino. What's this cleans you speak of? Yeah, I'll have to play it clean. I actually want to use my amp. Like usually I'm using my amp with the 2 notes Capitol thing, but I want to just see how it handles volume and gain and clean in a room, because much like we found out with other guitar brands, sometimes they don't do so well once you actually have it live in a room. So yeah, I'll test that out as well. If I don't do it on the video, I'll at least test it. It's a hollow body. They don't have center blocks by design. Oh, absolutely. But what I'm saying is it's not like a ES335 that does have that maple block running down the center. So you're going to get more feedback one way or another. You can kind of combat it. You can basically turn your volume control down just a little bit. Kind of takes out that maximum output, and you can get a bit more out of them that way. You get less, but you get less. You get less feedback, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Jamal says, am I going to update the Lefty website? I am. It needs to, I want to work on that very, very soon. I've got a whole lot of stuff I need to add to a number of different websites, and I didn't finish anywhere close to what I wanted to get done on that. So yeah, hang in there, mate. It's going to happen. All right. So much to learn if you want to take advantage of it. Oh, absolutely. I can't stress how much good information I've learned over the years. You know, before I was going to be, I went for my Microsoft qualification years ago. I remember just being stuck on something. I was like, I can't understand what, like in written form, what this is. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, that's really easy. So yeah, it just makes learning so much easier. YouTube saves all of its files in the cloud or something. Yeah, yeah. I mean, their server room in just California alone is insane. And I know it's sort of, they distribute the load over lots of different countries and all that kind of stuff, but it's just, there's just a massive amount of content out there. Gretsch is great. I tell you, I'm a big fan. Yeah, I won't ever buy one of their, what do they call them? The Chet Atkins style ones. They're just way too big. I'm a short ass. I'm like 5'7" or something. So yeah, you got to be, there's like a minimum height requirement. You got to be at least 5'9" to own a big bodied Gretsch. But some of those smaller ones I love. I think they're great guitars. Fender American Original Stratocaster versus Silver Sky. Which one sounds best? Yes. Again, you got to pick the one that's right for you, mate. There's no better one. Like anytime someone says which one is best in anything, like who's the best guitarist? I mean, clearly Robert Baker is, right? But if we take him out of the equation, we can go, all right, who's the best guitar player of all time? The answer is yes again. So play them both, mate, and give them a go. Some people will find that this is just my experience, even in my friend's circle, they found like the Silver Sky was a nice guitar, but for that money you could buy like a custom shop Strat. So, and then you've got to weigh up which one you like better. But in terms of that, I would say the 60s one is pretty cool. I don't like the 60s one as much as I like my 50s one based on the neck profile, but if you like a 60s neck, they're a really nice guitar. Do you find, Ben says, do you find you notice that the same YouTube, sorry, chat just scrolled. Do you find that you notice the same YouTube handles the comments all of the time? Are there any other regulars you've noticed from back in the Croc Tone days? Yeah, there's definitely people who have been subbed for 10 years, which is insane. And I always try to thank them anytime I can. So thank you, Ben. Handles the comments. Yeah, so there are filters not only inherent in YouTube, like if anyone posts a link, it gets held. And I prefer that because there's a lot of spam. I've keyworded out a lot of stuff that I think will be a problem. Like, you know, there's terms like boyfriend, where you get all those spam accounts, you know, adding in stuff you don't want on your account. There's a lot of bots that run certain keywords, and all of those get removed automatically. I don't have to handle any of that anymore. And then there's just ones you can add, and I know a lot of channels will do this, and I've done this, and I made this clear years ago. I added a lot of swearing to the filters. So if anyone swears in the chat, if it's in a laughing way, then it's different. But if it's verbally offensive to anyone, it just gets held. That's just the way that I like to do it. I don't want to have to manually spend hours going over stuff. If someone needs to call somebody something terrible, they can do it elsewhere. So yeah, the feed is pretty much sort of automatically managed to some extent, but or the comment section, I should say. But you know, everyone's got opinions. I don't block people who have opinions on stuff. That doesn't bother me whatsoever. People can say whatever they like as long as it's not verbally offensive to anyone. That's where I draw the line. I think you would probably find 9 out of 10 channels do that, whether they say they do or not. It just makes life a lot easier. And you don't want to have people basically hitting the caps lock in the, hitting the caps lock in the comment section. Riff, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Far out. What's going on? I wore an In the Blues shirt the other day, and someone asked where my guitar shirt was. My guitar store was, sorry. Flying the channel colours in Wollongong. Thanks, mate. Thank you so much. Yeah, I need to update those at some point as well, but that's still my favourite one. The logo one is super cool. You know, I got a gal I used to work with at my old job to design that, and I knew exactly what I wanted. It was inspired by the Buddy Guy's Legends logo at that time, but different enough that it doesn't look like it. But yeah, hey, thank you again, Riff. I appreciate that. And I tell you what, we've got one last thing here. I grabbed an amp as well, one that I don't think I've actually reviewed, but I've played, and I thought I'm going to do a proper video of it. It's down here. Look, I think I have actually reviewed it, but what I wanted to do was make a video about it that's a little different. So obviously this is the Tone Master, because I can lift it. This is the deluxe reverb. A while back I got the Twin, so I'm going to do a frequently asked question video, I guess, basically about them both. Because I get, which one should I buy all the time in the chat. It'd be great to have a bit of a resource for that. So. Anyone ever tell you that you sound similar to Courtney Barnett? I don't even know who that is. No, never. That I don't know who that is at all. It's a gal, is it? Thanks for that. That's interesting. Maybe the accent. Yeah, I mean, if she's from Australia, I have no idea. But usually my voice is, I would consider it fairly deep compared to friends in my circle. We'll put it that way. So she must have a pretty low voice. All right. Hey, Guitarologist is here. Welcome, mate. Thanks for your comments on the last video as well that went live. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you've just joined, all this stuff isn't mine for keeps. It's just on loan. I don't want to be a hypocrite. Not that that's the problem anyway. The problem is people not telling you that they get free stuff and turning it into a commercial. Every time I see the Dell logo, I think it's In the Blues. Oh yeah, I guess, well, I worked in IT, so maybe there was some sort of weird sort of subconscious design element there. Interesting. Do you think a hobby guitar player is better off investing in one high quality guitar or a number of value price guitars? Look, if you love playing guitar, Steve, I would say buy one that you want to keep long term. There's nothing worse than buying, I've done this, these stepping stone guitars where you buy like this one, the entry level one, which is fine when you're starting out. and then you buy like 3 other ones before you end up with one you keep long term. If you don't think you're going to quit playing, buy a good guitar. That would be my suggestion. I think it's the best way moving forward. And that's pretty much what I've done. I culled all the stuff I know I'm not going to either use live a lot, or the stuff that just wasn't as good as the main guitar that I invested more money into. And that's not to say more expensive guitars are better, right? It all comes down to justifying what you can spend on something versus, yeah, I guess that's what it comes down to. What you can justify and how much you love playing. But if you love playing, I'll encourage you to get something that you're going to want to play more, you know, and it will inspire you when you pick it up. I think that's the trick. You know, all the Strats I've had over the years could have bought the guitar I'm keeping long term probably 3 times over. So that's kind of how it works for me, at least anyway. Got to check out the No Bright Cap mod for the Tone Master Deluxe. Yeah, I think I've got that installed in my Twin, actually. I'll see if that one's got it. Always enjoy your vids. Don't always comment, but a thumbs up. Thanks, man. I like your what's the abbreviation? SPF videos. Like a sort of like a podcasty kind of thing. Very cool. Yeah, it was interesting to see how that video blew up. I wasn't expecting it to do what it did, and I didn't want to monetize it because, you know, people would assume the worst in it. So I figured everyone's contributing to that video, and the best thing for me to do is just to put it out there as like a resource so people are aware of what's going on. And I'm sure as a content creator, I'm not the only one, or we're not the only people thinking about this, right? I actually reached out to a lot of people with this through Instagram, and I didn't hear back, or, you know, they don't have messages pop up on their phone or whatever. So I did reach out to a lot more people than what were on it. But it is what it is. I'm glad it's out there. And yeah, thanks to everybody for their comments. You look at the top tier thing you want and decide to get a knockoff version of it, you still end up buying the more expensive one later on. Yeah, that's true in most cases. I think the only way it isn't, say I'm more of a Telecaster or PRS player, whatever the case may be, and you get a good Les Paul, but you don't use it much, then that's probably fine, you know, if it's not your main guitar. But if it's your main guitar and it's the guitar type that you like the most, I think that's when it's worth probably investing in it. There's some exceptions to the rule as well. I felt like at the time the Korean PRS SE guitars were probably the best value guitar on the market. They weren't anywhere near expensive as the equivalents in the US ones. So I'll take a couple more questions and we'll wrap this up. I'll timestamp the unboxings in after the fact, or showcasing, or whatever the case may be. But Stuart says, have I had a chance to play the American Pro 2 Jazz Masters? No, only I think I played one of the old, a Jazz Master. I don't know if it was an American Pro 2 one or not, but if you check the last, we took over the Guitar Shop one, or Keys to the Guitar Shop, just type in that. I played a rhythm part on one of them. I didn't like playing it at all for lead stuff. It wasn't very good. But I really enjoyed I think its rhythmic quality of its sound is really nice. They don't bend very well. And yeah, I don't know. Not really. It's more for a singer-songwriter kind of guy than it is for a blues player, in my opinion. But yeah, that's sort of how I feel about it. And that's not to belittle the guitars, because they're beautiful, they look cool. There are too many toggle switches on some of them too. They've got all these weird, small, sort of reversed potentiometers that are flush with the pick guard. Not really my kind of thing. I would much rather play Telecaster or Strat or anything with P90s that is more simple. Neil, thank you for that, man. I appreciate it. James says, Shane, from fellow lefty from LA, I hope you're always on point. Thanks as always. Hey, thank you. Thanks everybody for the support. Again, not only over the years, but in context to the last video, in context to this stream, and everything that, everything that's made the channel last for this long. You know, I kind of feel like it. I kind of feel lucky, I guess, that the channel's still going all these years later. Thank you, Amanda. Take care. Have a good night. Have me on one. Oh, have one on me. Sorry, I thought you say have you on a video. Yeah, no problems. And then that's my weird brain reading it wrong. Have one on me. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I'll keep an eye out for your videos. And guys, thank you again. I don't know what to say. The generosity is ridiculous. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna get busy. I'm gonna crack open. Oh, I cracked this open, but I didn't actually have any. We're gonna get caffeinated, and then we're gonna jam. And go check out Robert Baker's videos, Guitologist's videos, Landon's, and Jamal. Jamal's been posting a little bit as well from time to time, so check him out. He's lucky living in Houston, man. So much good stuff, so much good music. And anyone else who I missed here, Steve from Boston, everybody, thank you. Buzz, again, everyone, thanks for the super chats. Take care. And second part of the guitar shop video will be up this weekend, so I hope you like it. It should be a bit of fun. All right, I think we're good to go. Take care. Catch you soon. See ya.